Zombie apocalypse.
What's up guys, JustPatrat here, and I hope you're all enjoying the month of Halloween. This video could have been uploaded earlier or later, so I really don't know how close it is to Halloween. But anyways, with the scary holiday approaching soon, I knew I would have to make a video like this sooner or later. If you're a fan to the Pokemon franchise, don't be fooled by the cute exterior of Pokemon games. As I'm sure most fans already know, Pokemon has a lot of dark and creepy secrets that you wouldn't know unless you look for them. And so in spirit of Halloween, I bring to you a top 25 creepy, disturbing, weird Pokemon list. Also, before we begin, I apologize for this terrible Photoshop. And so, without a further ado, let's get started. Number 25. So starting off our creepy list is the Psy Pokemon, Kadabra. It happened one morning. A boy with extrasensory powers awoke in bed, transformed into Kadabra. So the idea with this Pokemon was that a kid with psychic powers woke up one day and turned into Kadabra. Now the concept of humans turning into Pokemon has already been introduced before in the anime and in spin-off games. At first, this doesn't sound too bad, but once you start thinking about it, it's actually really bad. A Pokemon is bound to be captured by trainers, and then they have to fight against other Pokemon. And for the trainers who use Kadabra, they have no idea that they are using someone's child to fight Pokemon. And it also made me wonder, if Kadabra is a young boy, then does that make Abra a baby? I mean, that would explain why it only knows one move. They would use Teleport to escape from battle since they wouldn't even want to battle. They would want to run away from trainers who are trying to force them to fight. Number 24. This time we have the Zen Charm Pokemon, Darumaka. Darumaka's droppings are hot, so people used to put them in their clothes to keep themselves warm. I have to say, this is without a doubt one of the most disturbing things I have ever heard in a Pokemon game. I mean, come on, in a world where they have mystical beings who have the power of the elements, they would use poop for their heat source? What, they couldn't just ask Charmander to light some wood on fire or something? Sure, their clothes must be perfectly warm, but I have to say, if my clothes ever came in contact with hot poop, I would probably never wear them again. Number 23. This time it is the bounce Pokemon, Spoink. If you're looking for a precautious and spunky Pokemon to keep by your side, then Spoink is the Pokemon for you. I mean, it's a little weird that a pig-headed Pokemon like Spoink would use a giant pink pearl on its head to amplify its psychic abilities, but the way it hops around on the spring it possesses in place of a body is absolutely adorable. That is until you learn that the spring isn't a sign of Spoink's rambunctious attitude, but required to live. That's right, if Spoink stops bouncing, his heart will stop pumping. Really makes you look at this guy in a different view, doesn't it? The fact that if Spoink stops even for a second, it's doomed. So these guys have to try and evolve into a Grumpig as fast as they can, because if they don't, it's game over for these guys. Number 22. Now we have the Shed Pokemon, Shedinja. If there's one thing Pokemon has done well, it's making bug-type Pokemon adorably badass. By discarding their cocoon forms, Metapod and Kakuna are able to finish their evolutionary journey into the beautiful Butterfree and badass Beedrill. But what happens when one of these discarded insect shells crawl inside one of your Pokeballs without you even knowing it? I'll tell you what happens. Shedinja is born. It says in the Pokemon Ruby Pokédex that Shedinja's hard body doesn't move, not even a twitch. In fact, its body appears to be merely a hollow shell. It is believed that this Pokemon will steal the spirit of anyone peering into its hollow body from its back. So I'm sure you're thinking, I got 2 Pokemon by evolving 1. What's the problem? Well, if something seems too good to be true, it usually is. Shedinja is literally the hollow shell left behind by Ninjask, and even though it can learn various attacks, it's still only a shell with 1 HP. According to its entry in Pokemon Sapphire, it doesn't even breathe, so it makes me wonder, is this thing even alive? Well, whatever you do, don't look closely at it. If you try looking into the hole on its back, it is said that Shedinja will steal your spirit. It's especially wonderful considering we're forced to look at its back when we summon it in battle. Number 21. Now we have the Mushroom Pokemon, Parasect. I can't have a Halloween countdown without a zombie Pokemon, so here's Parasect. Remember good old Paras, the mushroom Pokemon? It was so cute and full of life when we first saw it. That is until he evolved into Parasect. At first it looked like a regular plant evolution where the plant on its back just grows in size and color, but then you read its Pokédex entry and things go south. A host-parasite pair in which the parasite mushroom has taken over the host bug, prefers damp places. So unlike Slowbro, where both Slowpoke and Shelter benefit, Paris gets nothing from this relationship except pain and extinction. It's pretty much like the epidemic from The Last of Us, Ophiocordyceps unilateralis. Try saying that fast. The Parasite took over the host. In short, Parasect is a zombie. What used to be Paras no longer remains, and the Pokemon has been taken over by the fungus. This explains why upon evolving, its eyes become blank and the once cute eyes of Paras are gone. So basically, by evolving Paras, we're actually killing it. Think about that the next time you evolve a Paras. Number 20. This time it is the sludge Pokemon, Grimer. Wherever Grimer has passed, so many germs are left behind that no plants will ever grow again. This only makes me wonder, what would happen if a human were to touch these germs? I'm guessing that dysentery or at the very least gastro is inevitable without cleaning your hands with bleach. Actually, as soon as I read that Pokédex entry, the first thing that came to my mind was Professor Oak is probably dead, since he was covered by muck who is the evolved form of Grimer. Seriously, it's surprising to think that Grimer alone has the ability to get rid of all plant life on Earth, and it also made me wonder, if it can harm plants that horribly, then what would happen when a Pokemon comes in contact with this guy? Yep, you can pretty much assume them dead. Number 19. Now we have the magical Pokemon, Mismagius. Come on guys, you know I had to add this one on the list. Just look at that design, it's screaming Halloween. Anyways, the Pokédex entry from Pokemon Diamond says that it cries sound like incantations. Those hearing it are tormented by headaches and hallucinations. A Pokemon that causes headaches and hallucination when it cries. Definitely sounds like the perfect Pokemon to keep with you and to use in battle. After all, nothing could possibly go wrong with this particular ability. But honestly, I placed it lower on the list because while it does hurt those who hear its cry, it does so unintentionally. Not like this next Pokemon on this list. Number 18. Now it is the pumpkin Pokemon, Gourgeist. Just look at this Pokemon. There is nothing that could possibly make you fear this one, right? The design alone gives off such a friendly vibe that you would love to have it in your team. So what exactly did this Pokemon do that makes it worse than Mismagius? Well, here's the Pokédex entry. It unwraps its prey in its hair-like arms. It sings joyfully as it observes the suffering of its prey. So in case you haven't figured it out already, the world of Pokemon is extremely dangerous. I mean seriously, a lot of Pokemon can harm trainers and it's nothing surprising, but the fact that Gourgeist actually enjoys hearing you in pain? What the heck, Game Freak? I thought this was a kid's game. Number 17. Moving on, we now have the Hypnosis Pokemon, Drowzee. It remembers every dream it eats. It rarely eats the dream of adults because children's are much tastier. Okay, seriously, there are so many things wrong with that line. It's miraculous that the Pokemon haven't already risen up and destroyed humanity. In fact, they barely touch humans at all. Most of the time. One that does seem to though is Drowzee, which apparently wanders around neighborhoods and eats the dreams of children. Specifically children. And when the dreams of children are gone, they can only be replaced with nightmares. Although when you live in a world where psychic tappers are devouring your dream, it's hard to imagine anything more nightmarish than that. Number 16. This time it is the Hypnosis Pokemon, Hypno. Now before I begin explaining about this Pokemon, I'm just gonna read out a few Pokédex entries as proof to show you guys why he's so creepy. Hypno holds a pendulum in its hand. The arcing movement and glitter of the pendulum lull the foe into a deep state of hypnosis. While this Pokemon searches for prey, it polishes the pendulum. So we know Hypno uses its hypnosis as a means of hunting. Sounds about right for a Pokemon who holds a pendulum, but wait, there's more. When it is very hungry, it puts humans it meets to sleep, then it feasts on their dream. Okay, so unlike Drowzee, who goes around eating children's dream, this guy actually puts us to sleep and eats our dreams when it's hungry. So when you start thinking about it, it's going up on that creepy level. But wait, there's still more. It carries a pendulum-like device. There was once an incident in which it took away a child it hypnotized. Okay, the first two lines already creeped the heck out of me, but that last one took the cake. Seriously, all I gathered from these Pokédex entries is that Hypno is a creepy, pedophilic Pokemon. I mean really, putting humans to sleep and eating their dreams is creepy enough, but when you actually steal children away, that's when you take it too far. It already creeped me out since I watched this video and listened to this song. Number 15. Now we have the balloon Pokemon, Drifloon. It is whispered that any child who mistakes Drifloon for a Pokemon and holds on to it could wind up missing. These Pokemon are called the signpost for wandering spirits. Children holding them sometimes vanish. It's no surprise that Pokemon are dangerous and therefore parents need to be extremely careful when letting their child out in the world. After all, almost any item such as keys, swords, even garbage could secretly be Pokemon. Give your child a balloon to hold on to, it might actually be a disguised Pokemon that will kidnap your child and will never be seen again. What a ghost balloon would possibly want with children is probably a question left better unanswered. However, it's also said in the Pokemon Pearl Pokédex for Drifloon that it tugs on the hands of children to steal them away. However, it gets pulled around instead, so it's not always disturbing. A ghost balloon that tries to steal children but gets stolen themselves instead? That's pretty sad. Number 14. Moving on, we now have the South Sea Pokemon, Gourgeist. Although Gourgeist is the very picture of elegance and beauty while swimming, it is very dangerous. When it spots prey, this Pokemon inserts its thin mouth into the prey's body and drains the prey of its body fluids. So in the Pokemon Kingdom, they have many messed up methods to kill their prey. However, what Gourgeist does is extremely disturbing. It literally drains you of all your bodily fluids, leaving you a dried out husk. Worst is that in fact it inserts it through your mouth. Luckily, this only happens to Pokemon, right? Well, let's try thinking about it. Keep in mind that when you encounter a wild Pokemon, they're not attacking your Pokemon initially, they're attacking you. You only throw out your Pokemon to defend yourself, meaning if you were attacked by a Gourgeist and didn't have any Pokemon to protect yourself with, you'd probably become that Gourgeist's lunch. Number 13. Now we have the Scarecrow Pokemon, Cacturne. If a traveler is going through a desert in the thick of night, Cacturne will follow in a ragtag group. The Pokemon are biding their time, waiting for the travelers to tire and become incapable of moving. Okay, I'm just glad the Pokédex never described what they planned on doing to the travelers in the desert when they're incapable of moving, but I can only assume they weren't planning on helping them out or anything. I mean seriously, if you woke up and realized that a roving gang of sentient cacti were trying to do something to you while you were asleep, it wouldn't really be a good memory to have since cacti aren't really known for being soft. Number 12. This time it is the Candle Pokemon, Litwick. Look at that, another cute Pokemon who looks like he couldn't even hurt a fly. Okay, maybe he could probably hurt a fly, but you get what I mean. This guy looks harmless since he's so small compared to a human, but don't be fooled by this Pokemon's appearance. Every single Pokédex entry reads that while shining a light and pretending to be a guide, it leeches off the life force of anyone who follows it. Also, its light is normally out, but it begins to shine when it absorbs the souls of humans and Pokemon. Well, that was creepy, just to think that this little candle has the ability to take the souls of both humans and Pokemon. What's even worse is that he's just the first Pokemon in his evolution line, so imagine what the adults could probably do. Number 11. Now we have the marionette Pokemon, Banette. An abandoned plush doll became this Pokemon. They are said to live in garbage dumps and wander about in search of the children that threw them away. The world of Pokemon is already filled with dread in pretty much every corner, but did you know that even the toys in Pokemon have the potential for nightmare fuel? It's kind of like a terrifying mashup of Child's Play and Toy Story 2. You see, Banette is a doll that somehow gained consciousness purely to seek vengeance against a child that abandoned it. So if you're watching this and you have kids, make sure your kids are careful with their toys, otherwise those toys might come to life as ghost-type Pokemon who are used to battling dragons and magnets, all while trying to avenge themselves against a negligent toddler. Alright guys, it's time for the top 10 creepy and disturbing Pokemon. Number 10. Now we have the Requiem Pokemon, Duskull. Sure, ghosts are always spooky, and it's no mystery why this Pokemon was styled after the Grim Reaper himself, but the single glowing eye sliding back and forth between the eye socket is just the tip of the iceberg where additional eeriness is concerned. Duskull is a nocturnal Pokemon, mostly inhabiting dense forest, but it isn't interested in woodland creatures, only children. This floating Pokemon is rumored to pursue kids who don't follow the rules. Why? Because it enjoys the sound of them crying. So basically, we have another Pokemon who goes after children in their spare time, just so that he could hear them cry. I have to say, the ghost-type Pokemon really have a thing against kids, don't they? Number 9. Now we have the gas Pokemon, Haunter. Its tongue is made of gas. If licked, its victims start shaking constantly until death eventually comes. It hides in the dark, planning to take the life of the next living thing that wanders close by. Okay then, so we had two Pokemon that went after kids, and we had two Pokemon who ate the dreams of humans, but all that is nothing compared to this guy. He can kill anyone just by licking them, and it's even worse because they pop out of shadows, so you can never know where they come from. So if you think living in the Pokemon world is fun, it really isn't, cause honestly, I don't think I would like to live in a world where a random ghost can come out of nowhere and kill me just by licking me. Number 8. Now we have the stumped Pokemon, Phantom. According to old tales, these Pokemon are stumps possessed by the spirits of children who died while lost in the forest. It's important to remember that with non-legendary Pokemon, there are many of them, hordes of them all over the place. And you know what? The same goes for Phantom, a Pokemon composed of the dead souls of children who perished in the woods. This means that every Phantom you have ever encountered is a spirit of a dead child transformed into a Pokemon. Okay, seriously, that is extremely messed up. If we ever encounter a Phantom, it means two things. One, we are looking at a dead child who has turned into a Pokemon, and two, unless we run away, we are about to attack or capture the spirit of the dead child. Makes you wonder who the real pocket monster is. Number 7. Now we have the Elder Tree Pokemon, Trevenant. So for the people who are wondering why I placed Phantom's evolution after him, it's because I read his Pokédex entry. It can control trees at will. It will trap people who harm the forest so they can never leave. After reading this, it started making sense to me. Phantom was created by the Trevenant who killed them. Basically, a child hurt the forest, Trevenant trapped the child in the forest until they were dead, and then the soul of the child remained trapped until it joined with the stumps of the trees and turned into Phantom. After Phantom is created, they evolve into Trevenant, who pretty much repeat the cycle over and over again. And once again, this is a children's game, folks. Number 6. Now we have the beckoned Pokemon, Dusclops. Dusclops' body is completely hollow. There is nothing at all inside. It is said that its body is like a black hole. This Pokemon will absorb anything into its body, but nothing will ever come back out. The concept of mummies is already pretty terrifying. You know, undead people, buried in a religious ritual, return to the world of the living to bring back their dead girlfriend while fighting against Brendan Fraser. But leave it to Pokemon to make mummies 10 times worse. This guy literally has nothing but a black hole inside him, and as I'm sure everybody already knows, black holes are extremely dangerous. It really does make me wonder why parents would allow their 10-year-old child out into a world that has Pokemon with black holes inside them. Number 5. We now have the lamp Pokemon, Lampent. The spirit it absorbs fuels its baleful fire. It hangs around hospitals waiting for people to pass on. The afterlife is a mysterious subject in the world of Pokemon. We never see any Pokemon actually die in the game, only faint. But what about humans? We've never seen any types of hint or indications that show the death of humans. And I guess it's pretty understandable since it is a kids game. But with this Pokemon, humans aren't going to be going to heaven or hell. They are going straight to Lampent as fuel for its fire. And it's even more creepy knowing that this guy waits around a hospital hoping you will die so you can become its fuel. Number 4. Now we have the sword Pokemon, Honedge. If anyone dares to grab its hilt, it wraps a blue cloth around that person's arm and drains that person's life energy completely. So I really like the design of this Pokemon. A floating ghost sword is a really cool concept. It really gives us the cursed sword feeling since it was created when a soul departed and it inhabited the sword. It's creepy and badass at the same time. People have used swords in battle before, but if you pick up this blade by mistake, you're doomed. You may think it's wrapping its cloth around you to show you some affection, but it's actually drinking away your life force. Number 3. We now have the lonely Pokemon, Cubone. You knew this was coming, didn't you? Even if you hadn't played Pokemon since the original Red and Blue versions for Game Boy, you know about the lonely Pokemon, Cubone. Initially, Cubone was tied to the events of Lavender Town where Team Rocket killed its mother Marowak, thus resulting in the Pokemon Tower becoming haunted. Beyond that, it was simply the mysterious lonely Pokemon who never removed its skull helmet, leaving no one to know what its face actually looked like. Here's the Pokédex entry for this Pokemon. Where's the skull of its deceased mother? It cries echoes inside the skull and comes out as a sad melody. It was really surprising since this was one of the first times we had actually heard about a Pokemon die. You wouldn't normally expect things like this to appear in a kid-friendly game, but it happened, and Cubone had to be the first one to suffer. I have to say, this story is creepy, sad, and tragic all at the same time. Taking our number 2 spot is the destruction Pokemon, Yavato. When its life comes to an end, it absorbs the life energy of every living thing and turns into a cocoon once more. Good to know that literally all life completely depends on the survival of one red bird thing. And it's even more worrying to know that an 11-year-old could easily go up to this Pokemon and capture it. The point of this Pokemon is that if it were to die, we all die as well, be it humans, Pokemon, and even the planet. It's for reasons like this why I like Xerneas better, because it can actually give us eternal life. And the number 1 Pokemon that has taken our list is the spirit Pokemon, Yamask. Each of them carry a mask that used to be its face when it was a human. Sometimes they look at it and cry. The entry for Yamask casually introduces a pretty messed up concept as if it was nothing. Humans can die and we turn into Yamask. Worse still, it loses all of its human body except the face, which it carries around like a mask. That is extremely disturbing and creepy. Although I guess it answers the human afterlife question. They either get turned into soul fuel for Pokemon or become Pokemon themselves. Pretty ironic punishment for trainers to die and become enslaved Pokemon, constantly haunted by their lost humanity. And let's not forget, this is apparently a game for kids. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions for any future top 25s, then leave them in the comment section below. If you agree or disagree to any of these choices, then please write that in the comment section as well. If you feel like supporting this channel, then please click the link in the description and purchase some really cheap games. And until then, this is JustPatrat out.